we're going to see the launch of Tata Curvv on the 7th of August, and before that we have Martin with us. Thank you, Martin, for taking your time for OVERDRIVE. First thing we wanted to understand, this is the first time you're coming with a coupe shape.
Yes.
What was the inspiration? Why did you think of doing that?
Yeah, when we were developing this, we came up with the idea. We saw a real trend globally with SUV coupes. SUV has now become the mainstream product globally, not just in any market, India as well. It's now the critical mass, and we cover pretty much every base size-wise, from a Punch to a Safari. So we felt like, what's next? Is there an opportunity to actually start fragmenting the SUV typology? And we thought, let's do a SUV coupe. And we actually decided that actually 4.3 meter space was right the sweet spot to actually get the biggest volume, biggest impact. Make a car that is emotional, dynamic, sporty, high tech, but at the same time offers all of that SUV traits that people really appreciate and are purchasing.
Did you also think that you need very different kind of product for a segment which is governed by Creta and Seltos kind of products?
Yes, to be honest, in 12 months we're going to have a 4.3 meter SUV that is a more mainstream silhouette. So we're covering both bases in the sense we will cover the more practical, functional, mainstream segment, and at the same time with this we're offering a growing segment, which is people who want maybe something a little bit more special, a little bit more emotional, but at the same time we haven't compromised second row roominess. It's the same dimensions as any 4.3 product in the segment, and the same with boot space or anything like that. So the functionality is all there, but packaged in a design that's very emotional, dynamic, and hopefully appealing.
And how did your design team coordinate on this? You have 3 different studios, I guess.
Yes, as always, we have 3 studios in India, in the UK, and in Italy. It was a global competition. The exterior came from a design by an Italian designer, interior from a designer from Pune. Like most of the programs, I'm quite agnostic. I don't really have a skin in the game in terms of who gets picked, as long as the right one gets picked. And in the end, all 3 studios contribute to the process. The car was developed and designed, for production here in the UK, but then actually a lot of it was developed in Pune, in the India studio. So it's a combination. It's no longer like, it's black and white in one studio or the other. It's a mix, just like our teams are mixes of people from all 3 studios.
We are talking at Tata Motors Design Tech Studio in the UK, which is not a usual spot for any manufacturer. We attend launches, we go for drives, but Design Studio is something very unique. What was the reason behind this kind of interaction? Why do you think stressing on design part is so important for you?
Well, we wanted to show that we have this world-class, state-of-the-art facility, as you've seen over the course of the day. There's a lot of investment from Tata Motors here into this building, into the Design Tech Center, into the skills and capabilities that can achieve our design. But I think it's a message that, we're in the UK, but Tata Motors invests in design in general. And when you invest in design, you're investing in the future, but you're also investing in the customer, because we do human-centric design. So when we design a product, we think about the market, we think about the customers, we think about demographics, where opportunities are. And the company has a very good track record for being a risk taker. If you look at the Nexon, if you look at a number of products that we've launched, we created the segment. So there's no difference from introducing an SUV coupe to the market. We are actually creating the segment. We're the first there, and I think that shows a lot of confidence, and it shows actually that the company is very customer-centric. And like I said, when you invest in design, you invest in the future. It's a very good message.
All right, and if you could take us through the design process, how does it work?
Yeah, so when we have a design process, first is like coming up with the concept. This is the segment we think we should be going in, this is the typology. Sometimes that comes from product planning, sometimes it comes from design. Let's say at the moment it's about a 50-50 batting average. And then it's a normal process. All 3 studios are briefed with the product, sketch phase, designers produce that. It's like now we've had football, Euro Cup. So it's like a World Cup, or in cricket, World Cup. There's the qualifying phase, everybody does a sketch. Then there's a selection, that's second round. People make a digital model, and we pick 6 exteriors, 6 interiors, and that goes into a scale model phase. Then you go to 3, and then you go to 2. By the time you're in 2, you're in the finals. And then both exterior and interior, that's in full size clay, and then we have a go with 1. From that brief, the KO, the kickoff, to the selection of the final theme is plus or minus 6 months. And then you need another year to productionize your winning design, exterior and interior, work with engineering, manufacturing, suppliers, feasibility, maintain the integrity of the theme that was picked, and hope that all that hard work, that's where the hard work starts for a designer, is actually the perspiration to actually push your design through and argue, why does this need to be like this, or why does that need to be like that? And it's all part of the design process.
Any design element where you had to fight it out to convince?
Hundreds. Hundreds of examples. For instance, one example is the door handle. You see, we're going to be introducing a flush door handle. Originally, the car had a traditional door handle, and then we thought, like, oh, it looks quite old. We've seen flush door handles on much more premium vehicles, but to bring it down to this price point was a challenge. A lot of people were for it, but there was also interest that were maybe saying, why don't we just use the traditional status quo door handle? Not only from a visual point of view, that this is looks good, but also from an aerodynamic point of view. So when you're arguing the merits of some element of design, it's like a court case. You have to bring evidence. You have to convince people, and there's an art to that as well that comes with the negotiation. But ultimately, if you have a strong vision, if you believe in the concept, then you'll find a way.
And what about the name? I mean, we were discussing the naming. Were you part of that?
Yeah, I mean, I attended all of the naming. I mean, the Curvv name, we usually marketing engages in an agency, and marketing does a lot of work. Obviously, the name has to be copyrighted. It has to be something that we own. So you can't take something that's already existing in the market. And at the same time, Curvv, when we were doing the initial concept, a number of our designers actually ski downhill, myself included. And you know that carving skis are now a technology that's really enabled, performance, sort of a dynamic thing. So there was a lot of image boards that had this metaphor. And then the word carving was a word that was just being thrown around. Obviously, we weren't going to call it a Tata Curvv, but that sort of spun off, I think, the inspiration for Curvv. It represents that sort of long bend. It also represents the bend of the silhouette, the SUV, the coupe silhouette. So it has a lot of very good connotations. It's very unique and very memorable.
So thank you so much.
No, thank you. Thank you for coming. I'm really glad to have been able to show you around.
We'll see you again at the launch.
We will. Cool. Thank you.